Genesis 1 is one of the most debated chapters in the Bible amongst Christians. The question of whether or not it teaches that the earth is young or old has been going on for some time now. The unfortunate truth is that many get so focused on how to interpret the word day that the rest of the narrative is overlooked. This chapter contains so much beauty in theology, especially when it is approached with what we understand to be the Ancient Near Eastern context. This 7-part series will explore each of the 7 days according to the Hebraic text. Verse 1 opens by stating that Elohim created the heavens and the earth. What is interesting is that with the word Elohim, it is in the plural, and the verb created is in the singular. This is an opening statement, or claim, that it was one Elohim who created everything, and yet the name of which Elohim it is within the ancient world is not claimed until chapter 2. It would seem that the author is drawing in his audience as he reveals in more detail not just who this Elohim is, but the kind of Elohim he is. The verse continues on to state that what was created was the heavens and the earth. Some have argued that this is the first creation point. However, it does not seem that this argument works, as it is not until day 2 that the heavens are established and the earth is currently underwater until day 3. The terms Shamayim and Eretz refers to the sky and the land. Effectively, the author is stating that God created everything that is above and below. The sky and the land are established by God, and the rest of the narrative explores how he did so. Verse 2 states that the Eretz was Tohu Vavohu. Beginning with Tohu, the Hebrew and Aramaic lexicon of the Old Testament renders this word as wilderness, wasteland, emptiness, desert, emptiness, nothing. It also states it signifies a terrible, eerie, deserted wilderness, and this is a primary idea of what functions in creation. It should also be noted that these two words are both nouns. It is with this that it could be understood that the earth was chaos, and therefore it would be in a state of disorder, lack of function, or a state of confusion. Effectively, the earth is without proper structure, function, and is uninhabitable. Vohu is used to provide the next statement of the created order. This deals with the fact that creation is empty. Creation is without proper order and filling. The status of the cosmos is not finished yet. Darkness is over the face of the Tehom. The earth is without order, empty, and perpetually dark. Not only that, but there was the Tehom. The Tehom is the primeval ocean. It represented chaos to the ancient world, of which the Lexham Bible Dictionary defines as the state of disorder that would exist in the absence of a divinely imposed order on the cosmos. And yet there is hope, as the Spirit of God hovers over these waters that are now called Mayim, to signify these chaos waters are not an issue for this Elohim, whereas the other Ancient Near Eastern texts have their god or gods going to war with chaos. This Elohim will have no such struggle. This is the state of the cosmos before day 1 begins. Each day begins with "and God said" to signify the beginning of the next action. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning the first day. The word for light, or, just refers to light itself. There is a word for light source, and that does not appear until day 4. So what exactly is this light? What is its source? For further clarity, one needs to keep reading beyond verse 3. It is with the help of verses 4 and 5 that clarity can arise. It should be noted that in verse 4, God divides and provides a name. This is done with every day. Creation is not merely about physical origins, but the function and purpose of creation. As has already been stated, the word for light used in all 3 verses is or, of which has a broad use for translations, such as lightning, dawn, daybreak, morning, sun, and others depending on the translation. The primary, though, is light. However, the intriguing aspect is that in verse 5, God calls it by another name, Yom. What is to be known about Yom is that it is entirely time-based. Yom can function referring to daytime, like 12 hours in a day, a whole day, like 24 hours, and also used in metaphor that can include multiple days or even years in expression. In verse 5, the or is called Yom. However, it should be noted that or does not cease to be used by biblical authors. Therefore, this day does not seem to be ultimately focused on light sources. Again, the Hebrew makes it clear that this is part of day 4. But rather, it is about God establishing time, and that he is over time. This is consistent even with other biblical passages such as Daniel 7, where he is called the Ancient of Days. Day 1 seems to be more focused on the idea that this God of the Jews is the only one who established time boundaries as part of the ordering of the Tohu. This day effectively is about God creating time and its boundaries for the creatures of God's creation to follow. He is the ruler over light and dark. He is the ruler of time. In Egypt, Ra is credited as the head creator god and the sun god. With him being the sun god, he would effectively be god of time as well, since the sun is up during the day and down during the night. With this awareness, this god of the Jews claims to be the creator of time without there even being a sun. Prior to the Enlightenment, there were views that involved the sun being a source of light, but not the source of light. It is reasonable to see that the ancient Jews would have had a similar understanding, since daylight's arrival and the sun were not simultaneous from the perspective of the land. With the claim of there being an organization of time prior to the existence of the sun, Day 1 is claiming that God is the author of time, not Ra, or any other being that is associated with the sun. With that said comes the arrival of the end of the verse, where it states that there was evening and there was morning, one yom. With God establishing the boundaries of time, there is now a way to track it. The reasoning for the statement beginning with evening is due to the fact that the Jewish day would begin in the evening, meaning that it would be considered the next day of the week when evening time arrived. This would also be due to the fact that prior to the establishment of daylight, that in the ancient Near Eastern world was not directly tied to the sun, there was darkness that has now seen its first transition from darkness to the light in Day 1. Darkness existed before light, evening passes before morning. With this brief summary, the theological messaging is that God is addressing the issue of the tohu by bringing in daylight. The established boundaries of daylight and darkness shows that this Elohim is the author of time. The light is God's glory emanating into darkness to bring order, as founded in verses like Isaiah 16:19-20. The sun will no more be your light by day, nor will the brightness of the moon shine on you, but the Lord will be your everlasting light, and your God will be your glory. Your sun will never set again, and your moon will wane no more. The Lord will be your everlasting light, and your days of sorrow will end. God is the ultimate source of light. There is nothing equivalent to him. He speaks and the disorder becomes ordered. As he moves on through each day, he continues to establish order within the cosmos. No being is like him. They all depend on his existence, and none are as powerful as he.